What's up, everybody? Thank you again for coming out and just kind of hanging out with me today, going through some of the things that we're going through right now. This little legacy training deal that I talk about with coaches and athletes about all the time. Thank you so much for all the feedback, for all of the messages that you're sending me. Continue to reach out to me. If you just even want an accountability partner or just someone to just kind of go over some things that you're struggling with, anything like that, I'm here to help. I want to help. I'm glad these videos are doing that. So I'm going to jump right into it. Today we're going to be on the board again with the understanding of we will lose it if we don't fight for it. So the idea we have to understand is if anything in life, if we're not willing to fight for it, do we really want it? Right? That's the question we have to answer. Yeah, it sounds good, like we talked about before. Lip service sounds good. Of course it sounds good. It's a wish. It's what we want to do. It's the person we want to be. But if we're not actually making steps and actions in alignment with that, how much do we really believe it? Right? That's the question we have to understand and ask ourselves, even because then we're not even staying accountable to what we say we're doing, and then we're frustrated when we don't ever reach it. But if we look back at our days, if we look back at our months and the year even, and realize I didn't even put forth the effort that I needed to get to where I wanted to go. And honestly, from the beginning stages, it's usually more than we ever think it's going to be. So we have to understand that. So I think there's a thing called the 5 F's that we have to continue to fight for. And they're kind of pillars of life, essentially. I'll show you real quick. The 5 F's we must fight for: family, faith, friends, finances, and future. Right? So take the first one, family. Right? You have to fight for your family. Right? If you don't spend time with your kids, whoever spends time with them is going to grab their attention. Right? They're going to be ones guiding them, leading. There could be people that hang around that you don't want them to even be around. Right? It could be a spouse, it could be a brother, it could be a sister. If you don't spend time with them, how are you going to grow? Right? You'll lose that relationship. Think about a college friend that you had in college and time has passed now and you used to be best friends. And then over time, years and years, decade, long time goes by, and all of a sudden, what you guys once had is not as strong as it used to be. Totally different people now. Hard to even talk to each other when before you just talk about anything, right? So the key is if you want it, you have to fight for it. Life in general, family included, right? If you want a marriage that lasts, if you want something that stands the test of time when things come, when tribulations come, when hard times come, you have to fight for it. You have to be a fighter. You have to want it. And you can't just say you want it. You have to prove it with your actions, right? Second thing is faith. Faith, literally, faith is dead without works, right? Faith is dead without action. There's another way of putting it. If you're not continuing to prove the faith, do you really believe, right? That's the question we have to constantly ask ourselves with all of these is, do you really believe it? And if someone looks at just your life, not even hear you talk, just looked at your actions, would it answer the question yes? Or would it answer the question no to whether I want it or not? Right? We have to remind ourselves of that question, keep ourselves accountable to say, I said I wanted this, but my life isn't looking anything like it. My relationships aren't looking anything like it. I'm not reaching out to these people. I'm not trying to stay in contact. I'm not trying to keep that relationship even afloat, right? The relationship with my wife, I'm trying to keep it pushing. I'm trying to keep it growing. Or am I just saying that would be something I would love and I want, but am I creating the time? I'm being disciplined with creating the time each week, each month, to make sure that we have this time to grow and get better together? Right? These are things we have to continue to keep pushing into, continue to keep pressing into. Sometimes it's hard, and sometimes you have to create the time. It's not just really oh look, we got an extra hour. That's not how life usually works. Third one, I kind of touched on already. Friends, right? So the idea of long lost friends, right? People from college, people from wherever, right? If we're not constantly investing in the relationship, how do we expect to withdraw anything? It's like a bank account. Any relationships, friends, anybody. If you're not investing, if you're not constantly putting money in, how do you expect to withdraw anything? It's going to be empty. There's nothing there. Same thing in life. Same thing with your dreams. If you're not investing in your dream, if you're not putting in money to the account, when it's time to withdraw, when it's time to see the rewards of it, there's going to be nothing there. It's going to be empty because you didn't put anything in, right? So the whole concept of what you put in is what you get out, same idea. If you don't put anything in, how do you expect to pull anything out? So keep yourself accountable in that. The other one is finances. It's kind of alluded right into what I was going to say with the bank account. If you're not taking time to really invest in yourself, invest in other people that can help you grow in your finances, grow in your understanding of how money works, then how do you expect to ever grow? Right? It's the whole idea of if you're always staying in this environment and this is always what's comfortable for you, but yet where you want to be and who you want to be around, and what you see what they have, the fruit that they have, and you don't have it yet, put yourself in a room, put yourself around people that allow your mind to grow, understand new things. If you always stay where you always are, you're never going to get to where you want to go, right? It's like trying to do the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. If you're in the same spot right now, and it's been that way for a couple years even, months, whatnot, it doesn't matter what it is, what the time frame is. Put yourself in a new environment, stretch yourself. You're trying to get something new if you're constantly doing the same thing over and over. That's not how it works, right? I want to remind you of that. Lastly is your future, right? These all really tie into what the future is, right, for yourself. These are big areas everybody focuses on, everybody deals with because they're important. But if you're not constantly investing in yourself, constantly investing in your future, right? If you're not constantly investing in yourself, you're not really investing in your future at all. If you're not investing in your family, your faith, your friends, your finances, your future is not going to look the way you want it to look, right? So the key is we have to continually to grow ourselves, to grow the relationships around us, right? Our sphere of influence. And that's the key. We have to continue to keep stretching, continue to keep expanding ourselves. Because if we're still here, we have more room for growth. We have more to do. We're on assignment, which I've talked about multiple times before. If we're on assignment, we've got to continue to keep moving forward. Movement is the key. We can adapt a lot better for moving rather than sitting. Right? Many times people think of waiting as sitting back. I'm just going to sit down, right? I'm just going to sit on this, right? But no, instead it's, okay, how can I move? How can I maneuver, right? How do I move? How do I continue to stay, right? And move here, there, and then, if I need to adapt, I'm already moving. It's a lot easier to transition when we're in movement. So the key is, and I want to remind you guys of this, is focus on you, especially when times are crazy like they are right now. Focus on growing. Focus on these 5 things, right? Your family. You have a lot more family time. Invest in that. Right? It's important. If you don't invest in it, nothing can be rewarded from that. Nothing can be withdrawn from that. How do you expect anything to come from it? Right? If you don't put anything into an investment account, you're not going to gain any interest. You're not going to gain anything. Same thing in life. Same thing in relationships. If you don't invest, don't expect anything in return. All right? It's accountable. You got to make yourself accountable. Take ownership. Your life is yours. Stop leaving it up to someone else to handle it. All right. Much love. Hope you all do well and continue to keep getting better.